Our next panelist, Erin, please join us.
What would you do to collaborate with school districts and universities to enhance both education and job opportunities? And what have you done that demonstrates that you are able to do this?
We're going to start with Mr. Benavides.
I mentioned leadership being a quality that a mayor must possess. With that in mind, is using the mayor's office to invite the leaders of all of our institutions for a dialogue. As your new mayor, I would have to first introduce myself and how I was able to obtain the votes from the good citizens of Riverside. My demonstrated ability in the nonprofit sector is bringing Western University to our offices to create programs, to bring other organizations outside our city limits to work with established and goals and objectives that were created, that were innovated, that fit the mission of our corporation. I would do that within the first 90 days as your mayor.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Chavez.
There has been a great push to reading for the children, which is fine, but the problem is that they're not retaining very much. I would want the students from Cal Baptist or UCR or RCC to teach the kids techniques of studying and techniques of studying, and so they can retain better what they're reading, because they're skipping over words to get to the computer. They need to learn that the computer can be used as an educational tool for them to learn words, if they don't understand it. So not only they can use the computer, but they can ask their school librarian, they can ask the main school librarian, anyone that they need to ask to get to that word, to understand what it means. Oftentimes they're just skipping over it, and that's only hurting their education. Thank you.
Mr. Gardner, and please remember the second part of the question. What have you done that demonstrates you can accomplish this, meaning the collaboration between school districts and universities to enhance education and job opportunities?
Thank you. Three things I'd like to focus on. First, we can increase partnerships between the city and our two school districts to further programs that help increase graduation rates and college attendance rates. The city doesn't control the school districts, nor should they, but we can work with them and we can be supportive of them. Second, we need more internships at both the college and the K-12 level. If we bring more people into the work scene and let them see what work actually is, what's expected of people, and get them excited, that's going to be very helpful. And the last thing that I would recommend is we really need things, particularly for our college kids, for them to do when they're not in class. To many college kids, Riverside's a boring place, and we need to work on that. For things that I've done, I've had 3 interns myself. I use them regularly. I do speak in the public schools and will continue to.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Mr. Melendrez.
Thank you, Brad. There have been a few things that I've done over my past 2 terms, and that's strengthened our partnership with both the Riverside Unified School District and also University of California at Riverside. I also have worked with Riverside Community College in vocational training and trying to encourage and strengthen that relationship. But a few of the things that I've done in my area directly have been increase the summer reading program for our youth from 350 to up to 1,600 youth. That is done in partnership with UCR. Also, we brought in STEM programs in addition to the entomology program, as well as worked collaboratively with interns and also the AmeriCorps out of UCR. Now, through these training opportunities, it really builds community, but it also builds a better understanding of opportunity for employment within the city of Riverside and the surrounding area. I think awareness and opening the eyes of our students, but also of our children, is extremely important.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Petrozello.
Yes, we have one of the lowest college-going rates, but we have some of the brightest kids. We just need to let them know that they are. We need to identify what is it that our students are not going to college. And I believe as a teacher that we have to hook them early. We have to get them interested in something very, very early. And there's a lot of models out there where They have academies in different specialized areas. What have I done? I take my students all over to businesses, to reading centers. I get them out there to know what opportunities the world has out there available to them, and get them excited about learning, excited about life, and excited about having a good profession.
Thank you. Mr. Atkinson.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Gail, Aaron, I mean.
What would you do to collaborate with the school districts and universities to enhance education and job opportunities?
Well, what I do is if you look at each of the districts in there, they're run by their separate board and different entities. And I would raise the question of what they need, and they're such an important part of our community, is what could the city do to help them in their endeavors? That would be the first question. And I happened to do that last night. I ran into Ken Young, and I said, what could the city do to help the schools in the county? And he says, you see this here? He held up a little phone. He said, all the students have one of these in their possession. And there's applications on here that a tool for them to learn 24/7. He said, what the problem is, the city has the Wi-Fi access to it, and it doesn't work throughout the city. So maybe the city can work on the dead spots to make sure that the students have what they need here. On the university level, to tell you what I've done in the past to collaborate with them, and I've worked both with La Sierra University and Cal Baptist University.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bailey.
Seizing Our Destiny is our city's movement beyond economic development. Now has become a citywide movement to improve quality of life here in Riverside. And I'm on the Route 3. I'm the champion, the elected champion for Route 3, Seizing Our Destiny, Lifelong Learning for All. And as a part of that movement, I've created the Riverside Education Roundtable that includes the chancellors, the presidents, and the superintendents of all of the school districts and higher education institutions. From there, we came up with an idea called the Riverside Promise that we looked at Long Beach and the best practice down there of guaranteeing admission from our 2 school districts into RCC. And so now we've worked out a contract through that roundtable and through those discussions to make sure that RCC students can, if they commit, finish RCC within 2 years. I've also, as a member of the Completion Counts Executive Committee, continued to be a part of increasing the college going and completion rates. And the Advantage internship program recently is with the mayor. 500 students from the colleges are going to go into small businesses in Riverside and help them out.
Mr. Bailey, as part of the Long Beach Promise, they also looped in Cal State Long Beach and guaranteed admission there as well. Would you work towards looping in UCR into a Riverside Promise?
Yes, well, Dr. Pam Clute is a part of that, Chancellor White's representative on the Education Roundtable, and that's what we're working at, an articulation agreement that they already have with RCC, but also reaching out to Cal State and the private institutions that we have come to the table and said, we would like to be a part of this and guarantee, admission for Riverside students in our institutions.
Okay, thank you, Rusty.